Hey everyone, Mr. Fox here with a new episode of the Mr. Fox Report. Today's episode is about cult Japanese RPG from them NX. It's Valkyrie Profile for the original PlayStation. Released in 1999 in Japan and almost a year later in North America, Valkyrie Profile was an unconventional take on the traditional formula set at the time with the like of Final Fantasy and NX's own mastodon, Dragon Quest. The game is presented in glorious 2D with some elements of FMV in the background. Everything takes place in one visible plane: landscape, towns, and dungeons. Only the overworld map is in 3D. It's like watching an epic set of paintings. It's incredibly detailed and the effect works splendidly. Valkyrie Profile is loosely based on the Norse mythology. The game narrates the event before the Battle of Ragnarok. As the battle maiden Lenneth Valkyrie, you are asked by Odin himself to recruit the souls of deceased human warriors in Midgard to help fight in the Battle of Gods. Along the way, we got to learn more about Lenneth's past and Odin's true intention. As simple as the main plot seems to be, it is a convoluted story that reveals itself bit by bit, with twists and changing antagonists, but more on that later. The game is segmented into 8 chapters, and 8 chapters is divided into periods. Basically, the way it works is, every time the player is visiting a town, dungeons, or recruit a character, the game subtracts some time from the chapter allocated periods. That means every action will have to be carefully considered. It's a rather restrictive system that doesn't really encourage the player in exploring on the side. While some chapters can be tight in given time, others are rather short and uneventful, leaving you with plenty of periods to use or just spend to end the chapter altogether if you feel like it. You better use Lenneth's spiritual concentration when on the world map, as it locates for you the various points of interest. At the end of each chapter starts the secret phase, when you're going to be evaluated by Freya on your performance. Freya will have requests and expectations from you that need to be fulfilled, or not, it's up to you. However, sporting an evaluation level at 0 for too long will get you in a fight against Freya, where she will kill you and the rest of your party. It's basically game over. That brings us to the core gameplay. When visiting towns and dungeons, the game is presented as an almost classical 2D platformer. Lenneth can jump, crouch, slide, and use a crystal attack to freeze the visualization of the mobs on the stage. That attack can also be used for creating platforms and solving puzzles. Even the dust from a broke crystal can be used to levitate. It's rather cool. When you strike an enemy with a sword, you trigger a fight encounter where you are in an advantageous position and attack first. If the enemy touches you before you can, there is a 50% chance it will attack first. Valkyrie Profile has a turn-based battle system. Each party member on the right-hand side of the screen is allocated to one of the controller's buttons. By pressing the corresponding button, you perform the character attack, and by timing each member attack correctly, you build up a hit gauge. When the gauge reaches 100%, the system gives you the choice to unleash one of the members' super attack by pressing the button. Combos can be done to a certain extent depending on the weapon and how many times a character is allowed to strike in one attack. It's all very effective and relatively easy to understand at first glance. Building up the hit gauge meter by performing combos is just like a fighting games really. It will be very essential the further you go into the game. The first playthrough can get a bit confusing to say the least. There are a lot of mechanisms to assimilate and a ton of menus to go through. Some are self-explanatory and some are more nebulous. Although items tend to have a toolbox if you press triangle, and you can view their stats if you press square. You're going to spend a lot of time in these menus. One thing to understand very quickly in Valkyrie Profile is there are no shops in the town you are visiting, nor there is any currency. Instead, you will be granted after each chapter an amount of materialized points, or MPs, that can be transmuted into item and gear and vice versa. Right, I feel like I've been talking a lot about the gameplay and approach, and I just scratched the surface of it. I want to talk more about how the story unravels and develop itself over time, and ultimately how it affects the game progression. The gameplay loop usually goes like this. You use your spiritual concentration on the world map to discover new locations. Depending on the chapter you are in, an event is triggered and the game shows you where to recruit your new character, not before experiencing the last moment of their life. Every character introductions are carefully crafted, and you understand the motives and sacrifice each one of them are going through until their demise. It's all very powerful. The visual combined with the incredible work of art of a soundtrack from Motoi Sakuraba is tantalizing. We got to learn about this character, and despite the fact they all have human flaws, we care about them. It's very dramatic, and the situation and death are incredible and incredibly well executed. It's all very mature in a way. Every death have a consequence that is affecting the character entourage and to some extent the story. Through these situations, the game often evokes topics like death, obviously, growing up, time that passes, love, sacrifice, and loneliness. During some chapters event, we get to learn more about Leneth. The game sprinkles details, almost teasing you at times, because of course we want to know more about her. And that's unfortunately how the game drops the ball. Not that her story is not interesting, far from it, but within the game itself, it's too easy to miss part of the story. You can literally miss some critical events because you didn't go to the right place at the right time, or you rush through a chapter. And that will happen during your first run. Worst, there are 3 endings in this game, and the only way to achieve ending A, the proper one, is to perform some action in the right order, like avoiding going places in some chapters, sending specific warriors to Odin, or wearing the right artifacts. That's insane. Valkyrie Profile is infamous to be a strategy guide kind of game, meaning that you need a bloody guide to go through it. It's also a title that you are going to play a few times, either because you didn't grasp everything in your first run, got stuck somewhere mid-game because you don't have the right set of weapons, that happens a lot, got the bad ending, or simply love it. The game is not terribly long per se, especially compared to the other RPG of its time. One other area the game is notoriously irritating for is its dungeon. Because everything is in side-scrolling 2D, they quickly become an headache of a maze, not helped at all by a confusing map system. I mean, look at this. Despite some big flaws, I absolutely love this game. So much so that it is sitting at number 1 in my hypothetically number 5 or 10 or whatever number you want list of my favorite games of all time. And outside its game mechanism, it's an epic 32-bit drama RPG. It's a visual and sensorial experience. It's not for everyone. It's unconventional, and the better for it, I think. It also spawned a very good sequel on PlayStation 2, a remake of the original on PSP, a new game for the Nintendo DS, a port for mobile devices, and finally, a mobile game only available in Japan at the moment. As much as we have been blessed to receive an English localization in the West, only in the US sadly, it has an incredibly bad dub. It really, really sucks. There is so much more to talk about this game, and I hope I have encapsulated the main idea behind Valkyrie Profile. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you like it, please give it a like and subscribe to the channel. Thank you for watching, and I'll catch up with you later.